All right.
Okay, welcome to the team call. We are at January 25th, 2018, and we are going to hear from Amanda tonight about the 5 love languages. First and foremost, Brenda, I think you had a couple announcements about Carl's 135 group for Team Cup real quick, and then we'll get started into the content of the call.
Okay, so real quick, initially Carl was going to start a group on February 5th, and he originally said anyone who has bought a summit ticket and had a Team Cup team registered would be in his special group. It's called 135. It has strategies and business models for hitting Success Club and how to really market everything and market what you're doing successfully to reach that. And so today he actually went on live and said that he is no longer making Team Cup a requirement. You only have to have a summit ticket purchased. And so you will get an automatic invite to this group that starts February 5th. Brendan Bouchard is actually going to be one of the speakers along with other leaders and authors. And even though he's encouraging everyone, obviously, to get a Team Cup team going because working in a group will just help your momentum, he wants you to be in this group. So if you've purchased a summit ticket, you will get an invite to that.
Perfect.
Yeah.
Thank you so much. So even more incentive to get your summit tickets if you've not already. It will be in Indiana this year, Indianapolis, actually. And but we're looking at,
the one thing that he did say that I want to mention, if you actually hit Success Club in February, you will, and you're in his group, you'll get a special t-shirt that's designed by him.
Ooh.
Yeah, that's an added incentive.
Nice.
So that's it. I'm going to mute myself.
I believe Summit is June 21st, that weekend. Am I right? Anybody? Yeah, okay. So definitely make it a point to get your tickets because it's the best event of the whole year and it's a really great opportunity to have some team bonding and have a lot of fun. And quick recognition, Justine should be back in a couple minutes, but my coach Justine just hit Emerald, so super proud of her. I know a lot of you guys are pushing for rank advancements this month, so it's not too late. You still have a couple more days. A lot can happen in a couple days, so just don't give up. All right, so let's get started with the content. I'm going to mute myself, and then Amanda, you are up.
I was just going to mention, Kate, that the tickets for Summit are on sale for $145 until the end of the month. So it's a good time to get them.
Awesome. And also, if you are a brand new coach or you just started last month, you have opportunity to get Success Starter ticket to get a free ticket to Summit if you hit Success Club this month and then the 2 following months. So just remember that. And otherwise, we will get started.
All righty. So today, I've been trying to think this week about what to talk to you guys about. And I know long ago we did talk about the 5 love languages, but I thought it would be a good topic today. Something just spoke to me and said that this is what we need to talk about tonight. So maybe it'll speak to one of you or someone that you know that needs to hear this today. So 5 love languages. Written by Gary Chapman. It's an awesome book. I highly recommend it. So what I want to talk to you about tonight about is what are they? Why are they so important? And how can we use them in our world, in our business? So the 5 love languages are the 5 different ways that we give and that we want to or need to receive love to keep our love tanks full. So if you think about your love tank, if your love tank is running on empty, you are not feeling very happy, right? So you are not going to be the one that's out there telling people how great life is or how much you want they should come work with you, or even your family. You're just not that person that people want to be around, right? So you need to figure out what you need to fill your love tank. And kind of let the people around you know that, that language that you need. And something else that I heard today, it's the first time I've heard this being said about the love languages. And that is that sometimes when you wonder what your love language is, it's actually the way that you portray love to other people. So if you're the person that is always complimenting, or always, you're out shopping and you see something and you say, oh, so-and-so would really like that, I should buy that and give them a gift, then that may be your love language. If that's what you are pushing to other people, that might be what you actually need. So I'll go into what those are, but that was one way that they talked about it today on something that I listened to, and like I said, I had never heard of it that way before. There's quizzes, there's other ways to figure out what your love language is, but that way just kind of made me go, aha, oh, all right, that makes sense. So between our busy schedules and long days, expressing love can fall to the wayside. We forget to compliment, to give a gift just because, to linger in our embrace for just that extra second. These things that say I love you seem to either not get done, said, or they just don't get through to the people that we want to portray that to. So let's go back to the beginning. So what are they? So like I said in the beginning, there are 5 languages of love. So I'm going to go through them one at a time and talk about each one and give you some ideas that may fall under that language. So number 1, we're going to talk about quality time. So quality time is not quantity, all right? Quality time is actually putting down your phone, turning off the TV, and giving that person that fulfilling time that they need to feel loved. It's one-on-one attention. This is my husband's love language. He needs me to not be focused on my phone and going, even though I hear everything he's saying because I can do both. He needs me to put that phone away and concentrate on him. That's his love language. When I do that, he's so much happier. And you know what I mean. You're at work and the person looks down at their Apple Watch, and while you're in the middle of a conversation with them, and they're like, okay, oh, sorry. You get a little irritated, and that might not even be your love language, but you're like, oh, I guess my conversation means nothing to you because that just jumped in your way, So an idea for this would be to schedule a date, or schedule a lunch with a friend, or schedule a phone call with a challenger or a customer, and keep that schedule and make sure that happens no matter what. It doesn't matter if you're tired when you got home, if you just don't feel like doing it now, do it anyway, because to that person that needs quality time, that is everything to them. And if you say, you know what, I just don't want to do this tonight, that's total failure. You just, totally ruined a chance to connect with that person. One thing that might really help with this is a thing, you can order it on Amazon. It's called Table Topics. It's really kind of cool. It's just some boxed sets that give you some conversation starters. And I know that sounds silly, especially if you're talking about your loved ones, your spouse, that kind of thing. But the idea is just to get yourself started in a conversation with a person. Like, what's the craziest thing we've ever done together? And you could talk about that thing for 20 minutes, for an hour, or for 5 minutes. But at least you're talking, and it's talking about a memory that you guys have together. So conversation starters aren't a bad thing in a relationship. And they're not a bad thing for, we use them on Facebook. We always ask people, what did you do this? Why did you do that? What do you think about this? So conversation starters are great ways to draw in people. So again, that's what it helps. Another way to bring that into our business. So that is number 1, quality time. So number 2 is words of affirmation. This is my number 1 love language. This is complimenting people, telling them thank you, but meaning it, letting it come from your heart. Not just saying, hey, thanks, great job. Say, hey, Brenda, thank you so much for returning my text earlier. It meant a lot to me that you were there for me. Add to it. Let them know that you're not just throwing out this blanketed, oh yeah, by the way, thanks. Let them know you mean it. So again, like I said, expand on that thank you. Don't let it just be thank you. And this is another way we can do this in our business is calling out challengers again. Hey, Melissa, I love the smiles you've been all your pictures. I'm so glad to see you back in the group. Thanks so much for, posting today. And as these challengers, and you can kind of gauge on them, you might only be able to post in your group about that and not on Facebook, but some of them you might know well enough that you could shout them out on Facebook and they'd be okay with that. And that would be a huge thing to them, right? Like, wow, that's crazy. Somebody said that about me, so that means a lot to people. You look for their strengths and you compliment them. Set a goal for 5 compliments a day. Especially if there's someone in your life that needs this words of affirmation, or just do it on Facebook. It never hurts to throw out a few extra compliments here or there, right? Even if it's not your number 1 love language, it's something that you are happy to receive, right? So that is number 2. So number 3 is gifts. So the love languages of receiving gifts. And this one to me is always like, is this a little selfish, but it's not. If you really think about it, this isn't a person saying you have to bring me diamonds and jewels every time you come home. You have to bring me flowers. It's not like that. It's a reminder that you thought of them that day. It can be something little. It can be, oh, my husband really likes these cookies, so I'm going to get them for him and bring them home and surprise him. My daughter really likes this candy, so I'm going to pick this up for her and bring it home to her. Just little things like that. And again, if this is something that you are thinking spouse-wise or significant other, keep a gift idea notebook if their language of love is receiving gifts, because you can just kind of keep your ear open, and when they say, oh, I love this soda, I love this, whatever, this salsa, you can buy that when you're out next time, and you don't have to give it to them as soon as you get home. You can save it for a day where they look like they're having a rough day, and you go downstairs, you wrap it up, and you say, hey, I got you this. It doesn't have to be every time you walk in the door that you have a gift for them. It can be just a, hey, by the way, this is for you. So that's the love language number 3. Number 4 is acts of service. So acts of service is when you do something for someone. So this is, say, if my love language was acts of service, this would be me coming home to the dishes done, the floors cleaned, the laundry done, and being like, oh my gosh, you did this for me, so now I can sit down and read this book or sit down and listen to this podcast. That is so awesome that you would think of me and do that for me. Okay, so that is acts of service. Calling home and saying, hey, I'm stopping at the store. Did you need anything? That's an act of service. Just those little things, that little extra step of thinking of them again in a way to help them out. Okay, acts of service. Like when I was younger, I knew my dad always liked the end tables cleared off when he came home from work. And if they were piled, he would, he'd get mad and he'd just shove everything on the floor. But that was one small thing he liked done. So it was like, if we just cleared that end table for him, he had that feeling of, wow, they did that for me. That's an act of service. My husband wants to be able to come home and open the closet and hang up his coat without tripping on school bags and shoes. So, I make sure when I'm home that, 10 minutes before he comes home, even, the shoes and the bags are cleaned up. It's just that little act of service that says, I thought of you today and I did this for you. Okay. So number 5, language of love, physical touch. That's a lovely one, isn't it? Now, this doesn't just mean intimacy. This could mean holding hands when you are walking into the store, a hug, a kiss. This is my secondary love language. So I'm words of affirmation and physical touch. Bob, my husband, just said to me not too long ago, remember when you couldn't even go to sleep without your feet or something touching me? What's changed? I'm like, I don't know. I guess I don't like to touch there anymore. I don't know, but I still like to hold hands. I still like to, hug when you come home. And I still like to give you a kiss before you leave, before you go to bed, before, all that stuff. Those things are important to me. And they mean so much to me. That little, like I said in the beginning, that little extra second for that embrace. That is the personal touch that, is important to me. That is that language that speaks to me. So now, I think I talked about why they're important. So, you can use these languages to, as we've gone along, I've said how that we can use them in our world and use them, calling out challengers, using them for topics online, pulling in new people, commenting on their posts. These are all about building relationships. And that's truly what we want to do, right? We don't want to just sell a product to someone and then forget about them. We want to build a relationship with them and really take care of them. We want to show them that we care enough to find out what their love language is. And then walk beside them and do what they need to get them to where they need to go. So that's why it's so important, not only in our personal life, but in our professional life. You can use this at work. You can use this in our business. You can use this at home. At work, you know the people I'm talking about, that what language they need. You can kind of think about people and place them in some of these categories. Some people, like I said, I am both. I'm very close on those two, very similar. Not a lot of people test that equally as I do for those two, but it can happen. But typically you fall into one or the other. And the way there's a few ways that you can figure out your love language. So like I said, the one way I talked about at the beginning, which I thought was really interesting, is how do you show love to people? That may actually be the way that you need love given to you. I don't necessarily feel like that's truly correct for me. I see that I do that. I can see how I show love to different people in those ways. But I don't know if I push that, those two ways on a lot of people. I think I am to the point where I kind of see what people need and give it to them. And then the other ways you can do is, if you have the book, or if you wanted to buy the book, in the back of the book there is a quiz, and you can go through and figure out your love language. Or the easiest way to do it is go to www.5, the number 5, lovelanguages.com. And then it says start your quiz or find out your love language. And I was just actually on there a few minutes ago, and there's actually 2 other quizzes that they have on there now that I'm going to try out and see what they are. There's like an anger quiz and how you show you're sorry or something like that. So I thought that was kind of cool. I'm going to go back on there and try those out. But that's the easiest way is to do that. You do have to put in your email and do like a quick profile. But that's the easiest way to figure out your love language. Then you can also do your spouse, or you can have them do it. You know, I don't think I necessarily needed my spouse to do the questionnaire after I did it. I kind of can tell where they fall. And the book, you know, you can read on each category where, you know, what each one kind of means and where, you know, what people fall into which ones. And it kind of gives you an idea of where people in your life kind of fall into those categories. There is also a 5 love languages for the children. They're the same 5 languages, but they talk a little bit more about discipline and anger management for little kids and that kind of stuff in this book. But this one really covers even kids. You know, you can kind of, Emily and I talked about it on our way to practice today, and she's like, what is that? So I explained the book to her, and we talked about what her love language would be, and joked about it being gifts, and but really it's not. So like I said, it's a really good book. I really recommend it as a personal development book, as a growth book. It's just a really nice book to read. And it is helpful in dealing with other people. All of us are different in so many ways, but it can boil down to just these 5 different ways on how to treat people. So that is all I have. Does anybody have any questions, comments? Open it up to you guys.
Amanda, thank you so much for talking to us about that. It's something I've heard before. I've never actually gotten to sit down and read the book, but it's something that I've actually gone through with Derek, my husband, and I've started to do this with my coaches as well. But I think it's really neat to apply it to your challengers or your prospects also, because I think it just makes you so much more mindful and so much more intentional in your relationships, as opposed to just assuming everybody responds the same way as you do. Just as children learn differently in school, you have to remember people are going to respond differently to a message or a shout out or to a gift you send in the mail, or whatever it is. I think it's just important to kind of really know the person you're working with. And I love that you and your spouse are so connected on that, because I think that's where a lot of marriages fall short. And working on your marriage, or whatever your significant other, whoever your partner is in this business, whether it is your spouse or your mom or your sister, whoever it is, making sure that whoever that rock is for you in this business, that you guys have that nailed down, because you're going to go through ups and downs in this business, and it's going to help a lot more when they're on board and you understand, you need to give them that quality time, and you have to put your phone down, and you can't just be relentlessly working your business, or remembering to take time out of your day to talk with them or give them those words of affirmation, or that extra, doing the dishes or whatever it may be, and not be so engrossed in our businesses. Because I think I made that mistake in the beginning. I was just so excited about everything that I would just kind of push other things to the wayside, and that's just not the right thing to do. So I think this is super helpful. I don't know if you guys have any other takeaways, comments.
Well, hi everyone. I'm Justine. Sorry I was a couple minutes late. But nice to meet everyone, I guess.
Hi.
Hi. But yeah, I agree with a lot of what Kate said. Something that resonated with me was when you were talking about the different love languages and how everyone has different ones, and secondary ones, it made me think the same thing too, as she mentioned about how kids learn differently. It's almost like you can't approach customers or, challengers in the same way, because I mean, it's almost like you have to, it supports the whole thing of having to build a relationship
Right.
with people. So it really goes together, because you might give someone a compliment and they might be really shy and be like, oh my God, I can't believe she wrote that. So it's kind of, it's good to think about. I think it's really about relationships in your personal life and in your business life. So it definitely gives me something to think about getting to know people and determining what works for them before I just kind of, jump in and try to get them on board. Just actually taking the time to really figure them out and, what works for them. So yeah, so thank you for going through that. I had heard about it before, but that was like really helpful and like in depth. And now I'm excited to figure out what my love language is. I have an idea, but I want to take the little quiz. So we'll see.
Yeah, we should all do the quiz and share like in a thread on One Team One Dream
Mhm.
what ours are, just out of curiosity.
Yeah, I agree.
That'd be cool. All right, we'll do it. All right. Oh no, we lost Amanda.
Oh no.
All right. Well, I will post the recording on One Team One Dream. I'll also post the quiz link and
Mhm.
as well as a graphic. I think sometimes it just helps to read through them as well. And then maybe in the next like couple of days we'll get ours ironed out and share them. Just curious to see where everyone's at. But that's it. If you guys have any other questions, like feel free to message us. We're always here for you guys. And otherwise, we will see you next week. All right. Take care.